Welcome to the Qualified Limited short course on the Fundamentals of Quality Management, Unit 4. In this unit, we will be looking at management system standards, and in particular ISO 9001, ISO 14001 and ISO 45001, otherwise referred to as OSAS 18001. All of these standards are in widespread use, particularly ISO 9001, and therefore form an important part of any Fundamentals of Quality Management course. Later on, we will be also introducing the European Foundation for Quality Management, or EFQM, Excellence Model, the structure of which forms the basis for many international quality award schemes. The Investors in People standard will also be looked at, which was initiated in the UK but has also now been adopted in other countries, particularly Australia. In order to fully appreciate what a management system standard is, we must first be clear on what a management system is, and for this we provide the following definition. That is to say, the framework of processes and procedures used to ensure that an organisation can fulfil all tasks required to achieve its objectives. From this, we can see that management system standards are not the same as product standards. There are no requirements that govern the characteristics of particular products or services in management system standards. Management system standards apply to organisations as a whole, rather than to the products and services that they supply. Four important functions of the organisation that are served by management system standards are, first of all, the quality assurance function that gives confidence to customers that the organisation's products and services are what they are claimed to be. Also, the quality management function, which is concerned with defining, planning, organising and achieving goals. And the social responsibility function, which is about managing the impact of operations on other stakeholders. Finally, the integrated management function, which visualizes the organisation as a system of interconnected processes which are then managed as one to satisfy the expectations of all of the various stakeholders. The requirements of a management system standard in general address the areas of policy, planning, implementation, measurement and review. Many of you will see the link between these and the Plan, Do, Check, Act cycle that we looked at earlier. So we will now turn to the International Standard for Quality Management Systems, ISO 9001. At a very basic level, this standard is a standard by which to conduct business, a set of rules which should be followed in order to meet the needs of customers and to understand their wants. It is a generic standard, that is, it can be applied right across industry, in manufacturing, in service, and in the public and voluntary sector, as well as small and medium-sized enterprises. The ISO 9000 series of standards date back to the 1980s, when there were originally, in addition to ISO 9000 and the guidance document, ISO 9004, 3 standards against which an organisation could be certificated. These included ISO 9002, which specifically excluded the design function, and ISO 9003, which was solely for inspection and test and was effectively a hangover from the military days where ISO 9000 has its roots. Now, only ISO 9000, ISO 9001 and ISO 9004 remain, with ISO 9001 being the standard against which organisations can apply for certification. The latest version of ISO 9001 is ISO 9001 2015, which replaces the earlier 2008 version. Organisations will have up to 3 years to make the conversion. The management system standard ISO 14001 deals specifically with environmental management systems and provides a framework that an organisation can follow in order to set up an effective environmental management system. We should note that it does not provide any specific requirements for environmental performance. What it does do is to provide assurance to company management, employees and external stakeholders that environmental impact is being measured and improved. It can also be integrated with other management functions. The management system standard OSAS 18001, that is to say ISO 14001 2016, is an internationally applied standard for occupational health and safety that assists organisations to put in place demonstrably sound occupational health and safety performance. Here again, the PDCA cycle is in evidence as part of an ongoing discipline of continual improvement. All 3 of these standards are objectively assessed. First of all, and most importantly, by means of an internal audit. This self-assessment is extremely important because it enables the organisation to identify and rectify any deficiencies or non-conformances well in advance of the third-party audit. The fewer the number of deficiencies that are uncovered by the certification body, the easier it will be to maintain certification. Well-managed organisations with a high reputation for quality are fully aware of the need to ensure that all internal auditors are suitably trained and possess the required skills of diplomacy to give the organisation its much-needed strength in this area, with full cooperation from all employees. We must remember, of course, that when applying these standards, it is the management system, and not the standard, that governs the organisation's processes. The standard is adapted to the company, not the reverse. As previously mentioned, it is possible to integrate core elements of the 3 standards so as to avoid duplication in the auditing process. For this, a high-level structure known as Annex SL is used, which is international and based on a previous ISO Guide 83, which is embodied in the British Standard publicly available specification known as PAS 99, the latest version of which was published in 2012. With integrated management systems, elements of a management system are linked or coordinated, and the existence of commonalities and interdependencies are recognised. Duplicated effort in documentation and auditing is removed, paperwork is reduced, and staff time can be used more productively. As a result, the management system is rendered cheaper and easier to administer, with simplified training that can help to lead to what Joseph Juran would refer to as a breakthrough in attitudes. Annex SL has 10 high-level clauses. These are common to each of the 3 standards. The first of these covers scope, normative references, and terms and definitions. The remaining clauses cover context of the organisation, leadership, planning, support, operation, performance evaluation, and improvement. As before, the PDCA cycle is in evidence here in clauses 6 to 10. The widespread adoption of integrated management systems has resulted in a greater onus now being placed on management to identify its own hazards and implement the necessary controls. It is no longer considered adequate to give managers copies of legislation and expect them to use them as a starting point for developing a management system. There is also an increased translation of risk assessment into management actions, and an increased recognition of the common thread of risk management throughout the three disciplines. There is an increased tendency to recruit multidisciplined personnel with increased transferability of core skills. The days of the creation of boundaries between elements and seeking sanctuary behind a specialism are coming to an end. Another trend is the reduction in competition for attention between plant managers, and a wider range of development opportunities are now both available and required by the professional manager. Unwanted competition for the same resources is being progressively removed. Deming taught us to drive out fear in organisations, and integrated management systems are helping to do this by ending retrospective fault-finding and blame apportionment. There is a greater emphasis on prevention, aided by risk assessment, and a more open style of training for everybody. We will now turn to the EFQM Excellence Model and the Investors in People Standard. The EFQM model was originally developed in 1989 by 14 leading European organisations. They had a vision of a world in which European organisations excel, and a mission to be the driving force for sustainable excellence in organisations in Europe. The objectives of these organisations were first of all to establish a place to share, investigate and validate management practices that make a difference, provide a variety of routes towards business improvement and development, and recognition of progress in organisational excellence reflected in various EFQM levels of excellence. 8 fundamental concepts were incorporated. These are namely customer focus, leadership and constancy of purpose, management by processes and facts, people development and involvement, continuous learning, improvement and innovation, partnership development, public responsibility, and results orientation. These concepts are enshrined in a model that consists of 9 criteria that collectively provide a non-prescriptive formula for excellence. They are divided into 5 enablers that cover what an organisation does, and 4 results, all of which count in order to show what an organisation has achieved. Results are caused by enablers. The model recognises that there are many approaches to achieving sustainable excellence in all aspects of performance. But all of these are based on a single premise, notably that excellent results with respect to performance, customers, people and society are achieved through partnerships and resources and processes. This is underpinned by innovation and learning, closing a loop, yet again, which has the PDCA cycle embedded clearly within it. The EFQM model was revised in 2013, but remains broadly the same. The only differences are that policy and strategy is now just called strategy, products and services have been added to processes, key performance results have reverted to as they were originally, business results, and possibly most significantly, creativity has been added to innovation and learning. We should note also that the concept of partnerships has now been extended to uncover the entire value chain. An important key feature of the model is its emphasis on the need to manage, develop and release the knowledge and full potential of people at an individual, team-based and organisation-wide level. The organisation then has to show an ability to demonstrate what it is achieving in relation to its people, as well as its external customers and local and international society. Under business results, the organisation needs to show what it is achieving relative to its planned performance, with an ability to demonstrate how using the enabler criteria. Especially important here is the inclusion of non-financial measures of performance as well as financial ones. It is no longer sufficient to rely solely on bottom-line figures as a measure of success. The rigorous EFQM assessment process will reflect this. The EFQM model is very much an international model. The Investors in People standard, by contrast, is slowly becoming international. This was established in 1991 as a national standard created by the National Training Task Force in collaboration with leading industry professionals, and it is, unlike the other standards that we have mentioned, not the province of the certification bodies, but rather an organisation known as Investors in People UK, which was formed in 1993. Their remit was to take national ownership of the standard, protect its integrity, and ensure its successful promotion and development. This standard provides what is now widely recognised as a straightforward, proven framework for delivering business improvement through people. Key features of IIP are that it is designed to work for any size or type of organisation. It is outcome-based rather than process-driven. It offers a flexible approach to assessment. It has achieved international recognition as a mark of good practice, and consistent evidence has revealed that it puts profit on the bottom line and therefore improves financial performance. The standard itself has 3 key principles and 10 indicators, which again embody the PDCA cycle, albeit with a slightly different wording, that is to say, plan, do, review. The review part consists of continuous improvement and performance measurement, much the same as clauses 9 and 10 of Annex SL. The other indicators are business strategy, learning and development strategy, people management strategy, leadership and management strategy, management effectiveness, recognition and reward, involvement and empowerment, and learning and development. These indicators reflect the fact that this standard is all about people rather than processes. Otherwise, it bears a lot of resemblance to the other standards and to the EFQM model. We should note particularly point 6, that people's contribution to the organisation is recognised and valued. And we should also note point 7, that people are encouraged to take ownership and responsibility by being involved in decision making. The development of lifelong learners within the organisation is clearly encouraged by this standard. To conclude this section, some mention may be made of 2 other important award models. First of all, there is the Malcolm Baldrige Award, which is the American equivalent of the EFQM model, and in fact predates it. And this has 7 pillars of quality that broadly correspond with the enablers and results of the EFQM model. Finally, we also have the Deming Prize, established way back in 1950, originally only for Japanese firms, but made international in 1984. And this has a somewhat stronger process focus than Baldrige, but is often compared with it. This award, which was named after W. Edwards Deming and instituted by the Japanese Union of Scientists and Engineers, features an individual award given every year to a statistician for contributions to statistical theory, and an application prize awarded to a company for improved use of statistical theory in an organization, consumer research, design of product, and production. The 1970 Japanese Quality Control Medal was introduced for firms that had won the Deming Prize in the previous 5 years, with the prize for individuals following in 1974. There is a checklist which we can apply for the Deming Prize, and that is namely policy and objectives, organisation and its operation, education and its extension, assembling and disseminating information and its utilisation, analysis, standardisation, control, referred to sometimes as cannery, quality assurance, effects, and finally, future plans. If you would like more information, please contact us on 0161 236 2421 or email us at info@qualified.ltd.uk. Also, please remember to follow us on Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter and YouTube, where you will find more useful information free of charge.